So someone asked about the decibel levels with the ACL with one motor, and the motor drive, the back part, the electric motor, it's practically totally silent. It's so low noise that you can hear it over the camera body running at all. All the possible noise, extra noise which this can generate is from the axle coupling there. So there's the axle and then the rubber coupling and the pins, and if that is slightly in wrong position, that can generate extra noise. The motor itself doesn't generate practically any noise, so it is the mechanical parts, and in any case the camera body generates much more noise than the motor. In any case, and in any case the magazine is much noisier than either the camera body or the coupling or the electric motor. Actually, if I have the ceiling fan on in the workroom, I can't hear the electric motor running. So I need to actually check that the axle is turning, because I can't hear anything. If it's totally silent room, then one can hear a tiny bit of whirring, but that's it. So if you don't have broken bearing on the motor, then it's practically totally silent. So it's the mechanical coupling there, the axle, and the condition of the camera body, which I don't have any possibility to control, because it's your camera, not mine. This is my camera, and it's not that low noise. It's not in perfect condition, it's okay, but it's noisier than most ACLs. So the camera body generates noise. I don't have the magazine here. The magazine generates so much noise, but it's pointless to add it here. And magazine running generates noise, and film means that the magazine generates more noise than the magazine, depending on the loop size and condition of the magazine, and take up friction and anything else. So we are just testing the motor with the camera. The coupling tuning is okay. It could be a tiny bit more silent. And I have the pillow here to lower the resonance with the table, which could affect measurements. The distance is not 1 meter, it's like, what is that, 50-60 centimeters. So I have the decibel meter here. And I have the refrigerator here, and there's tiny bit of traffic noise from the outside. But yeah, you can get some readings. So it's 24 FPS without magazine. One and then off. So background noise is 37 already. So it just adds a little bit extra. I get it to 1 meter. That's like 60 centimeters or 70. So testing again. It should be 1 meter. Slightly less, but still. So that's basically up to the camera body actually. The actual tuning is not bad. Something like 41, 42 or something like that without the magazine. So I can actually, if you can watch the table surface for a moment, I can attach the magazine. It has the film roll inside, but it doesn't have the film threaded, so let's see now. It's something like 70 centimeters. You can hear the empty film roll end making that. Just into the sound. So we can actually check for the effect. So you can see this ACL. Something. This ACL is not that low noise actually. Let's switch it off. So if running an Aton LTR or something, it's much slower noise because of the camera design. The Aton is much newer design and it's partially based on this, especially in the magazine, but the movement is different and it's different body shape, much larger body, better soundproofing. Both the materials and the design, the lens mount is different, so it has built-in sound dampening and so on. So, but I don't think anyone could expect an ACL to be as silent as an Aton. So. The bass level is something like 37. So. It's 46 pointing towards less. For FPS on the motor side. Back side. Magazine pointing to the meter. So, and right side of the camera. Pretty much the same. So I can test with the. You can hear it now it's on the actual table, so you can see the difference in the sound level because of the resonance. So this is basically with all cameras that they resonate a little. So if wanting to test anything, then you have either mount it on a tripod or isolate it from the table somehow to get any readings. So this is more of a, you could hear that the coupling itself didn't make much noise, so the noise we measured was made by the camera body and the magazine. And tiny bit with the film, it was not threaded in the magazine, so it didn't transport it, but the loose film roll turned around there and made some noise. So if you are going to shoot dialogue scenes in small spaces, then I recommend something like the Aton LTR or Harry Esser or Eclair NPR is more silent than these ACLs. This is good handheld camera, very good budget handheld camera, but it's not for shooting dialogue scenes in small spaces like bathrooms and such. It's just not, the camera is not made for that. The motor would work fine for that, but not with noisy camera body like this. So the camera body is noisy, it's the camera's fault. People love when I say something is the camera's fault, not the motor's fault, but it actually is the camera body design which makes the noise. You could use something like soft Barney over the magazine and some parts of the camera to lower the noise, or a maybe taping a pillow over this would dampen it quite much, but it could be a little difficult to operate, so something like a towel wrap, big towel wrapped over the camera, or taping some soundproofing materials over this, and especially the magazine. You don't need to buy some original soft Barneys. You can make one by yourself very easily. Just stitch and tape something together which works for the shoot. You will probably shoot short film stuff anyway, so it's good for something like a couple of days or a week. Even if it's taped together, if it starts to fall apart, you can tape it again. If you want to shoot feature films with cameras like this, then you can go to some place where you can make custom leather stuff, like either for horse riding, horse accessories, or motorcycle accessories, or other leather working, and get them made a custom, good padded custom Barney for you, which will last for 20 or 30 feature films. For normal short film stuff, you can just buy some neoprene or other stuff and tape something together to dampen this camera body. People love me to say this, but it's not the motor's fault, because the motor doesn't generate the noise, the camera body does, and I can't do anything about it. If it's better serviced, then this probably one could lower the decibel readings, something like 5 decibels at least, with proper CLA, I think. I have not tested with different camera bodies, so I just know that this can be more silent than this particular one, which I have serviced by myself some year ago, so it's not in perfect condition. I am just making motor tests with this and these setup tests to see what works for handheld, for example, and then then we'll update stuff later. I'm going to make the ACL 2025 motor for this. It is based on my NPR motor, and it has single frame and shutter parking and all the kind of stuff, and costs something like 3 times the price of this. So this is budget motor and really good budget motor for indie stuff. If you don't mind about the lack of shutter parking and change the engine knob to better one, then you can just loosen the two. I don't see if you can see one hex screw slot there. There's 2 screws which hold this. The axle, you can just change this to anything basically. It has 5mm axle hole. So you can just, it's not needed to use this with the motor, and you can take this engine quart off too. It just has 2-sided tape there. So you can cut it with thin blade and then replace it with something else or design your own, or if I happen to have updated CAD model, then you can 3D print new one, and you can change this engine knob very easily if needed. You don't need to use this. This is just something the motor ships with. Can be changed in 1 minute if needed. And not the motor's fault if you hear some noise. It's either improper tuning of the axle coupling, which can be resolved by changing either the spacing with the spacers or the tension of the 4 screws if it is a tiny bit tilted to somewhere. Then you will run the camera without the magazine, just the camera body and the motor, no magazine attached at all. You can hear anything if there's magazine, take it off. So just the camera body itself and the motor, and then run it at slow speed and fine tune a little and find the position where the sound level is lowest. So this is pretty well tuned already. It's just that this camera body design and this particular camera body in this condition creates noise, more noise than it could be. Not that much, but it's easy to recognize the difference because this is not the most silent ACL there is. I know there's more silent ones. Much more silent ones. This is just the one I use for tests. So yeah, and get one of these mini V-lock batteries. The small rig ones, the black ones, are supposed to be good, and these ones are good. Anything which is about 50 watt-hours and can output from DTAP should be good, and the maximum power draw is something like 4 amps. The absolute maximum is 5 if it stalls, but in normal running it takes from something like from 0.7 to 1.5 or 2 amps maximum if you really strain it with bad condition magazine. So on. So something like 1 amps or a little more when running. So you can run a couple of hours with one of these. For normal shooting scenarios, you only need one of these and load it after each shooting day. And if you happen to break your only battery, then you should have something for backup, either some block battery type of solution or larger V-lock battery. for the power requirements, you only need one of these to run the whole day. For in these suits, probably you could run 2 days with one of these without charging it in between, because they don't suit many hours of footage per day. So. And recommended to keep this attached, because in some rare cases you can break the connector if there happens to be very tight fitting. So safer to remove from here, and you can make your own power cables. I will always include a couple of these connectors in the shipment, so you can just make more cables if you need them. Pretty easy to make too. And these extra wires are for external start switches, so you can add as a momentary switch here to run the camera remotely. So yeah, there was some sound level, kind of semi-scientific sound level test, but there's something at least. So if that's something like 38, 40 decibel sound, but there's when running 24 fps, then you maybe want to invest on some other type of camera than the ACL. This can be pretty good sound level with proper servicing, but there's more silent cameras. If you need more silent camera, then you can maybe consider the NPR, for example, which is about the same price point than these. And there's good motors for NPR too.